We're back. We're back on the steps of Parliament House here. Right up here, you can see the sun. But if I show a few of the supporters here that have gathered, there's a few shy ones in the background, and we've even got some school kids here. And I'm supported right here with Michael Tudick. Welcome to Michael. My name is Graham Little, nee Peter Pope, www.fightfarmercorruption. We've just had a minute's silence here outside the steps of Parliament House, remembering all those amazing people who have made sacrifices. And it wasn't just the soldiers that went, it's a lot of families that made sacrifices, a lot of mothers and fathers, a lot of siblings. Many people have made sacrifices over the last 100 or so years and longer. And today is a day remembering their sacrifices, the fight for freedom and future fights. And I was particularly excited that one of the people that wanted to come today and support the other fight that we've got on our hands, the fight for freedom of medical choice, particularly amongst many other freedoms that are being challenged in Australia, is a young man who he hasn't even completed his exams yet at HSC. He got one more exam on Monday, and this man is helping me give a voice to young people. And he just turned 18 and had his first vote, but we're creating something special where we'll create a social media voice for people under 18 that don't vote. So Michael, I'm going to have a quick chat to Michael now and introduce him to you, and we'll have a lot to talk about this new initiative. So here's Michael Tudick. Michael, say hello to everybody out there on Facebook Live.
Hello, everyone.
And what's your name, Michael?
My name is Michael Tudick.
And what are you studying in HSC this year?
All the subjects.
Yeah.
All right. Currently, I'm studying English and religion because they're compulsory. Business management, legal studies, and further maths.
So that's a pretty good combination. And I've been talking to you now for about 6 months, and we've come up with a concept called Voters to Be. That's the letter 2 and B, the number 2 and the letter B.com. And Michael's helping me put this together. We're not ready to formally launch it, but we're giving you advance warning. Now, Michael, why are you interested in helping the rest of the younger people in Australia, given your demands on your own time as a student and plenty of other things you could be doing today on Remembrance Day?
Well, currently, young kids usually follow what their parents and families follow, so they don't really not think for themselves, but they're more brought up in a... I'm not sure how to explain it, but they just follow what their parents do, and they either vote for Liberal or Labor and don't look at the bigger picture outside of what the minor parties could do. So the concept of this is for young people to be aware of what's going on in politics and what the bigger picture is of what minor parties could do to the major parties.
Yeah, well, I think that's it's extraordinary that someone like Michael is prepared to put time in when he's still a student. And I do know his father, who's an incredible man as well, and he should be very proud of Michael today, standing up on a pretty special day when a lot of people were too scared to come out today, and I don't blame them. It is very, very intimidatory at the moment in Australia. I get intimidated every day from all quarters, and so do many of the other people that are here behind me and many others that would like to be here. So thank you to everybody that's come out. We've got about 25 people that are planning the next step. And we've got Michael here who's going to work closely with the group and bring his young people in together. We plan to have all the major issues that are affecting young people addressed on this new social media initiative, voterstobe.com. I'll put more up on www.fightfarmercorruption.com on how we're going to process moving forward. And we want all those clever minds that are in schools. There was some I saw recently at a major conference, got an award down at Parkdale, I think it was, Parkdale Technical School. So you know that I interviewed you back when Andrew Robb, the Liberal minister, was there. And there's a lot of clever minds going through school. And you know Facebook better than me, and Instagram, and God knows how many others. We need to get young people from 8, 9, 10, 11 understanding these issues, because there's a big push to give medical interventions to 12-year-olds without consent of their parents. And it has been going on anyway. Illegally, I say, but how outrageous to expect that vaccines like Gardasil, for example, should be given to a 12-year-old at school without the consent of the parents. And that's where the industry is trying to take this. And it's scary that it was an Australian invention and we're giving a lot of pats on the back. We need proper evidence-based science to support this. And our male population, when they were 11 or 12, were the world's first guinea pig for Gardasil, the first young men to have Gardasil with no science supporting it. What a disgrace to the Australian politicians to treat our 12-year-olds, or however old they were back then, I think it was 11 or 12, like guinea pigs. And enough's enough. The young people know, they're smart. And guess who's going to get the most number of votes? People like Michael. You've just voted at the federal election. I don't want you to say who you voted for, but I mean, assuming you live to, you're 18 now, how many years do you reckon you want to live for? What are you targeting?
75.
75. Well, that's a lot of votes Michael's got. So any politicians thinking they can ignore children under 18 and do what they like to them, they're going to have very, very long memories out there, Turnbull and all the mates there in the federal parliament, and Minister Lay. I hope to see you very soon. These young people are going to be groomed with what you're trying to do with them without their parents' consent. They are going to be groomed by the facts coming from people such as the Cochrane collaboration. Has got a major concern with the Gardasil vaccine that you are denying the knowledge to the Australian public. The young people have got to know about this because you are trying to even cut their parents out of the knowledge. And people like Michael and whoever else is wanting to join in when we get this going are going to get the knowledge that the peak global body that's the last remaining independent science, the Cochrane Review organisation, cochrane.org, for those that are not familiar, it was stuffed down my throat through VCAT 66 days. The main federal government agency that tried to put out of business the most brilliant hyperbaric oxygen therapist. I fought side by side for the last 55 of the 66 days of torture they put him through, and you failed to prohibit him from practice, and that was all over Cochrane standard evidence. Well, how come the Cochrane standard evidence is taking on the entire European Medicines Agency on Gardasil right now, and you are ignoring the Cochrane standard evidence and giving this vaccine to young people, potentially without the consent of their parents? And that's just a start. You've been ignoring it in medical kidnapping, in giving chemotherapy without a Cochrane review tick. In fact, the Cochrane review says if you give chemotherapy to a young child that has a brain cancer condition, there is no evidence supporting its efficacy beyond placebo. In other words, why is the medical fraternity and the family court overruled a mother in Perth recently? The full chief judge of the family court, supported by the head of the current AMA when he was head of the ethics committee of the AMA, he's now the president. They all ganged up with the main hospital in Perth and the Minister for Health, and they forced chemotherapy on a 6-year-old boy with no Cochrane evidence, overruled a mother who was concerned at what they were doing to their child with no scientific evidence. That's how bad it's going. We're not just talking vaccines here, we are talking the whole gamut of medical intervention. And this is young people with brain cancer, it's young boys without science, with Gardasil. Who knows what else they've planned. I'll be doing more talks soon about 250 plus vaccines under production right now for every single condition you go to a GP. And for those who are not aware that vaccines are unavoidably unsafe, that is why there is a US government act. That is why it was brought in 1986, because of the extraordinary damage that was bankrupting the drug companies to the point they refused to produce vaccines and market them. In Australia, we even ignored all of that, and we still deny compensation for this community effort. And then we intimidate all these people behind me and their children and their friends and family for standing up and saying, we have had enough of the lies that are going on that all vaccines are safe and effective. They are not safe and effective, and you cannot have a complete country denying it in health ministers and not even having a safety net not even having the safety net that's thrown up $4 billion to people in the US. We do not even have any safety net. And what's more, we deny informed consent to every mother because we fail to warn the mothers that in Australia we have no safety net. So if you do the right thing for the community and get this mythical, absolute nonsensical science concept of herd immunity, if you go down the path and you do your bit for the community, we're going to leave you high and dry with any compensation for any immune disease, respiratory disease, paralysis, whatever the other side effects. We're going to leave you high and dry. We look after people in a flood. We look after people, if there's a fire, a bushfire, we're fantastic. But when it comes to this community effort, we are sacrificing our children. We are sacrificing pregnant women without any testing. Read the labels. There's never been tested on pregnant women. We're chock-a-block full of influenza vaccine. We're chock-a-block full of now the DTaP, like 3 more vaccines, diphtheria, tetanus, and whooping cough to pregnant women. It's out of control. And then we want to give a 1-day-old baby vitamin K that studies showed in the 90s was causing cancer, brain cancer. And then we also give a Hep B virus on day 1. And guess how long that's been tested? 5 days. And of course, it's only a 1-day-old baby. They'll get over it, I suppose. So we're lucky that young people like Michael are prepared to stand up. We need a lot more young people. In the end, it'll be the young people, okay? I think the old people are gone, that are going to get locked into adult mandatory vaccination. I promise you it's coming. They're not going to tell you. They're going to sneak it in at the last minute. It's all over the internet in the USA. They know 2020 Healthy People plan. Read up on it on the internet. Healthy People 2020. They want to vaccinate the entire population, and the dollars are going to dwarf the stock market like you've never, ever seen in history. 3 times the profit margin on vaccines, 15 times more adults than children, multiply 15 by 3, 45 times potential more profit. That's why the whole system's corrupt, and there it's corrupt in the Parliament House because they can't win election unless they take the bribes from the pharmaceutical and other lobby groups. Okay, luckily, maybe Trump might help. We don't know. Maybe it'll get delayed. We need to get the young people like Michael. We need to get the rest of the population like the brave people behind me. And we need to get all the natural practitioners and the integrative doctors that know what's going on, are treating endless patients with these adverse, unavoidable effects that we all know are happening and hiding. We need to make it comfortable for them to get out. And so we do have a summit against corruption. Maybe it'll be the day before Mother's Day, maybe in 6 months. Why don't we try again the day before Mother's Day on the Saturday in the town hall? Let's get the 1,000 mothers that are prepared to stand up. Let's get 1,000 people coming that will subsidise their cost. Let's get Michael and whoever we can get together with his team and bring the young people out. And let's have another crack at this before it's too late. So thank you to everybody that's put today on. It's been an event that I wasn't planning, but I'm really pleased that we're all here, and I hope it makes a difference to you and your life. Thanks to the rest of you, and we'll be plotting and planning this afternoon. Signing off. www.fightpharmacorruption. Last word from Michael from voterstobe.com. Michael, tell it how it is.
Well, can I just say something about the briberies of the pharmaceutical
go
companies?
into it. Yeah, have a crack.
In the US, Big Pharma paid George W. Bush when he was in president around $800,000 to pass their legislations to allow Big Pharma to do what they want. If that's what's happening in America, what's happening in Australia with that as well? They could be paying Daniel Andrews about $200,000 just to get through what they want. And Voters to Be, hopefully it'll be up and running next year. It'll have all things to do with politics, Australian politics, worldwide politics, anything to do that will influence Australia with what's going on in worldwide.
Brilliant. Thanks indeed. Good on you, Michael. Well done all. Signing off again. We might be back on later. We'll see. There might be some brave people telling their stories. A bit like Vax.com. If you haven't read the stories and listened, tune into Vax.com. look at www.learntherist.org. Love to Brandy Vaughan. Sorry didn't come off this time. And we're still fighting. We'll be fighting every day until freedom is restored. And thanks again to all those returned servicemen that have given their lives and all the families that have made sacrifices on Remembrance Day. That's why I wanted it to be today. We want to remember them, and we don't want to have another war on our freedom that destroys our freedom for life, as we did know it once in the lucky country. Signing off.